right, y'all, listen. I'm so excited because today we have my husband, none other than Dr. Jamil Ramsey, join us on the show today. And we're going to be talking all about overcoming the failure to launch. Be unstunted. Y'all know if I got my husband on the show, this has got to be a good topic. So guess what? He'll be joining us right after this. Dr. Ramsey.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
It's always funny because you are a doctor, I'm a doctor, and so we out here in these doctor streets doing our thing. So I'm excited. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to call you Dr. Ramsey the whole show or babe, as I lovingly call you, but we'll see what's gonna happen throughout the show. So, oh my goodness. Look at that. Always something. Always something, right? I meant to put my stuff on do not disturb, how it always is supposed to be. So I'm gonna start over because we'll be able to cut this part out. Oh, Dr. Ramsey, welcome to the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be here too. Normally I'm behind the camera trying to keep the boat afloat. So it's a little interesting being on the other side of the camera.
I know, but you're going to be having your own podcast too. So you're going to be on side of this camera for a long time. Well, videos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, videos. So I'm excited because this topic that we have going on today is something that we talk about often, like all the time, overcoming failure to launch. Just something that has been a part of our normal conversations throughout the years, throughout the 20 years that we've been together. We've experienced a lot of it ourselves. And then, of course, we know so many people who you've helped to overcome so many of their challenges, number one, including myself. And so I'm really happy we're going to get to talk about this today.
All right, so let's do it.
All right. So Sean, thank you so much for joining the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show live. I'm excited to see you. All right. First of all, I do want to take a minute for the audience to kind of get to know you a little bit. So I want you to introduce yourself. I know you and love you, but I want them to know and love you as well. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Awesome. So Dr. Jamil Ramsey, I go by the moniker, the Black Guy Who Codes. Been in the technology field for the last 20 plus years, primarily as a software developer. Recently got a PhD. I'm also a full-time professor. Been teaching for a little while. So I kind of align all of my skills together just to really reach out and be a mentor.
Yeah. No, I love that because you have so many accolades under your belt. And I can remember when we were in school, we were both in school getting our PhD at the same time. Lord bless us.
Yeah, well, I said I was gonna go, then she tried to jump ahead and beat me, but it's all good.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little competition. You know how we do. Hi, Dr. Moore. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Okay, I'm so excited to see you here. Okay, so first of all, I want to ask you, before we dive in any deeper, tell us what your biggest superpower is.
Oh, that's easy. Strategy. I'm one of the most strategic people you'll ever meet. I can dissect a problem and come up with some kind of workable solution. It's what's really been my bread and butter throughout my whole career.
It is so good. And it's so funny because me and you have been married for almost 20 years, y'all. 20 years in the game, y'all. That's hashtag goals, right? But I can remember, like, just throughout our whole life, I am the wow and you are the how. So anytime I'm really trying to come to you with something, a new idea, which is often, and over the years, you always ask me how, and sometimes I get what I want. Sometimes I don't, but it's always going to be a strategy put behind it. And I know that now, so I know how to come at you. so, so
I mean, the strategy for me is for you. If you actually want to do something, you have to find a way to do it. So
this is true, which is why we're talking about what we're talking about today on the show, which is overcoming failure to launch. So, I mean, what is really overcoming failure to launch? I mean, we talk about it all the time, but I want your definition of it.
I mean, pretty simply, it's visualizing and achieving and living the life that you want. And if there's a gap between where you're at and the life that you want, and you're having difficulty bridging that gap, that's generally where failure to launch happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is keeping me from getting from point A to point B?
Yeah. It's so funny because we look at social media, we look at the news and all this kind of stuff, and we see this happening in pretty much so many people's lives. And then we've also known it happen in the lives of the people we love. And at some point in our lives, where has this been most prevalent to you? Where have you seen this, show up being most prevalent to you?
I think it's most prevalent in how we set up and build expectations. I like to say that the expectation is a thief of joy and the enemy of success, because there is no reference point for our expectations in general. And that's
say that again. Hold on, baby. Say that again. Say it again. Did y'all catch that though? Go ahead. Say it one more time.
On which part? No reference point for expectations. Yeah, expectations are the thief of joy and the enemy of success.
Oh, child. Expectations are the thief of joy and the enemy of success. Please explain that. What do you mean? Like, y'all, this is good. Y'all can see the conversations we be having all the time. Okay.
So going back to my background as a strategic person, when I build my expectations, I always build it off of my previous performance and then a little extra buffer, because I can be awesome sometimes. So there's some room for me to go beyond my expectations. Oh. But if you build your expectations off of what you see on the screen or in the feed or in a movie, these things have no reference to what you've been able to produce historically and have no impact on what resources you have available to you. So if you're building your hopes and desire off of an expectation based off of something that's not tethered to you personally, it's going to be very hard to get there.
So I think that this, y'all, getting deep for real. I feel like this is such the downfall of so many of us out here trying to become successful or trying to have that definition of success that we want. So are you saying though, because we getting deep, that I'm not supposed to have any kind of expectation out of my life? Are you saying that?
No, not at all. It is very important that you have hopes, aspirations, and expectations. But an expectation can only be realistic if it's within your ability to get there. So that's where the gap is. If you don't have an ability to get to where you want, it's not really an expectation, it's a hope or a dream. So you have to treat it as such. I have this aspiration to be a multimillionaire. If I make 20 grand a year today, there's a gap. So what other things can I put in place in my life to start building to get to that next level? My expectation can't be that, okay, I'm going to be a multimillionaire within a month or within a year.
Yeah.
Because if we look over the history of people, that generally doesn't happen.
Yeah. And, I did a show on unrealistic expectations because I understand this even in my own life. And I think we were just talking the other day about how we've come so far, but yet we still have so far to go. And I said, I wish I were here years ago. And you said something that was profound. What did you tell me? You told me if I was supposed to be here years ago, I would have been.
Yep.
Because
That's
there's
one
a
of the,
process.
yeah. We always rise to the height of our capability. So if in our life we're not where we want to be, that just means that our capability isn't strong enough to get us there, which
Yeah.
isn't a bad thing. It's just it gives us a reference point saying, okay, what does my capability need to be for me to get to this next level?
But do you think that a lot of people don't understand their capabilities? Hey, Diamond. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Barbish. Thank y'all for joining us live. I'm excited to see y'all. Do you think that people just, I mean,
Well,
what?
most
Understand their
people
capabilities?
most people don't understand their capability because we are stronger and more resilient than we ever give ourselves credit for.
Right.
The biggest problem is in what we prioritize. The general person, they prioritize happiness and comfort.
Okay, now you're getting into my territory when we talk about happiness. So come, y'all, listen. Me and Jamil, my husband, we have conversations about happiness all the time. Y'all know I'm a positive psychologist. I talk all about happiness all the time. He has a different, not necessarily a different, but a kind of interesting spin on like how happiness should show up in our lives.
Yeah. So when I say prioritize happiness and comfort, that means we put happiness in front at the expense of anything else, whether that is professional development, whether that is healthy relationships, whether that is working out and going to the gym, because happiness and comfort are linked in a way that's dysfunctional. We want comfort, and if we're not comfortable, we're not happy. But if you're overweight and you have to make a sacrifice to cut carbs and go to the gym, that's not going to make you happy in the process, but the result will bring happiness. So it's like we let this priority block us from a process that's going to bring us long-term happiness. We prioritize short-term happiness and short-term comfort over long-term happiness and long-term success.
You gotta come through with the short term and the long term happiness. I know, I love it because it really goes into this whole instant gratification culture that we have, right? Like we have a very instant gratification culture. I want it right now. I want it yesterday, those kinds of things. And I think that that is, you're right, it's getting in our way of being who we need to be. But let's talk about that in terms of, you know, our failure to launch. There are so many people who will be listening to this podcast and listening to the show who have this goal of getting to where they want to get to, but something has been consistently stopping them. Um, and how do they understand what that is in their life?
Yeah. Step number one, which is the hardest step, is that we want benefits in our lives without changing.
Mm, mm.
I want more money, but I want more money as I am, not as the person I need to be to get more money. I want an awesome relationship without having to participate in a change for that relationship. I want all these things, but I don't want anything to be required of me to get it. That's the number one step in being able to launch, is that I'm not capable of launching as I am and cannot be
Mm.
committed to becoming the person that is capable of launching.
Mm.
That's the biggest roadblock. And once you can get past that, the possibilities are completely endless.
Wow. No, it's really wow. No, that's good. The ability to change. Like it's kind of like we're talking about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, right? A
Yep.
growth mindset says I can change. A fixed mindset says this is how I've been all my life. So why change, right? And I think that if more people could have a growth mindset, then we'll be better off. But here's the thing. Here's the thing though. Change is not easy. Um and because it's not easy, I feel like most people really, really shy away from it. But I'm wondering though, what do you think? Do you think most people even realize that in order to get what they want out of life, that they have to change?
Yeah. So on a base level, yes. But to pull this conversation back full circle, we set our expectations high, and we have this fallacy that that expectation can be real. So if I have an expectation that it's possible to get rich without changing, then I let that override my common sense of saying that I have to change to change. And
Mm.
that's where the conversation about expectations and really having an expectation of change is a long-term process, and setting the expectations to steps that will get us to the goal, small achievable wins, so that we can really get in our mind that, okay, this is possible. I did this small thing and it worked, and I can
Right.
do the next small thing and I can continue this journey. We like to eliminate the journey of a process and focus on the destination, but it's the journey where we build the ability, skills, and fortitude to really change our life and have it be a impactful change and long-term change.
Yeah. It's the journey. And man, but that journey, baby, I'd say the journey be journeying, right?
Yeah,
I always,
dude.
I mean, it do. I always think, right, like that we have to enjoy the journey. And I preach that, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the messages I preach. And that to me, that's how you learn how to live a very harmonistic life with, filled with harmony. But man, I just think about our life in general. I feel like sometimes I'll be feeling like I've been launching forever. Right? Like that's
and and, that,
hard.
and it's so common. I think about as a youth, me and my friends and I, we played basketball every day of the summer for years. And I'm still not a great basketball player today. I can hold my own a little bit, but my game hasn't progressed until I just really look back at what have I been doing all those years. And I've been practicing the same level of game I've always played.
Mm.
I never moved my practice, never moved my shot selection, never moved any of the things that will help me grow as a player. No, I just went and I played the same game. So you know what? 30 years later, I have the same results when I play. And
Bang,
that's
bang.
where we get stuck.
Wow. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love that story because we had a friend who told us a story about her and her friend going to play tennis every morning for 6 years, and they still was not good. Right? They still was not good. And so what is so you went out, you played the same game, practiced the same game, you never changed, you never grew in the game because of what?
I played to play. I didn't play to get better.
Ooh, y'all. Okay. Okay. I get so excited. Hi, Dr. Gail. Thank you for joining us on the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. You played to play, right? You didn't play to get better. Explain
Yeah.
that.
So I was just concerned about going out, hanging with my friends, and getting us some shots and having a good time. It's all come down to intention.
Mm,
My intention never was to be better. My intention was, quote unquote, to exist. And
okay.
that's where we get stuck. We exist, but we don't have intention about getting better. We have a desire to get better. Would I have loved to be better? Absolutely. I would
Mm.
love for God to put his finger on my forehead and say, you got the game of Kobe. Go get it.
Not
But,
on your
but it just don't
forehead.
work like that.
Not on your forehead. Oh
Yeah.
my God. So, but what you just said was powerful. Thank you, T, because that was powerful. Desire and intention are two different things, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Desire and intention do so because I was just going to say, there are a lot of people who want to get better, but you say, yeah, but that's just a desire.
Yeah. That and that's what moves you from an average life to an excellent life. You can have the strong burning desire, but until you're ready to pick up whatever it is that's going to get you better, to say, okay, I want to move this desire to a reality. And that's a hard thing to do, because we always imagine our goal as this insurmountable mountain.
Yeah.
And that's where having someone who's good at strategy, having somebody that can help you develop a game plan to put small pieces together so that this mountain is climbable. You don't
Yeah.
have to get to the end of this journey. You have to take 10 steps. Then you can look back and say, hey, I'm 10 steps farther than where I started. And that's where the real work begins. And most people can get to that point. Most people can take 10 steps. You can take 10 steps in anything. But when you get to that 10 steps and be like, okay, it took me all this to get 10 steps. What about those next 10 steps? And can I make a decision to say the goal is worth taking those next 10 steps?
Wow.
And that's where we make real decisions in our life. Like, okay. And that's where that's when we really have to come to the acceptance that it was a lie that I can have everything I want without working for it.
Yes.
Now, is my struggle comfortable enough to live in?
Okay, so first of all, you done dropped so many jewels. I don't even know where to go. Because I think about what we've talked about in the past. You have something about people get mixed up the struggle and sacrifice. And I really want you to explain that, because to me, that's a game changer if we can understand that.
Okay, so I'll go back to my scenario of, I'm trying to live in Atlanta, can't get an apartment because I make 20 grand a year. I'm struggling. It's hard. I'm living in these places I don't want to live in, and my existence is just tough. That's different than saying, I make 40 grand a year. I need to save money. I'm going to make an intentional choice to live in a place that a $20,000 salary can afford, so I can save $20,000 a year. That person that makes 40K is living the same life as the person making 20. But the difference is one person is just struggling and the other one is making a strategic sacrifice so that they can take a next level. And I look at sacrifice, and people don't like the word because it sounds hard, it sounds rough, it sounds unpleasant, and it can be. There are some people who make sacrifices in all the wrong ways. I look at 3 factors to say that a sacrifice is going to be developmental. 1, you have to really have a specific goal that's going to be achieved by that sacrifice. It can only be for a defined period of time, and there has to be measurable results for that sacrifice. If those 3 things are present in a sacrifice, then you're going to get some kind of tangible benefit for doing so. If any one of those are missing, then it's still in a category of suffering. But people don't like either because they don't feel good. But my point of view is, if you're struggling, how about we substitute that struggle with a sacrifice and make a change? It might feel the same in the beginning, but ultimately that sacrifice is going to get you out of that feeling.
Babe, you dropping jewels. You're dropping so many jewels. Because I mean, I know, like, throughout, our life, we've struggled and we've also sacrificed, right? And to me, a lot of times them things felt the same.
They do, but it's like our expectations, and we have magical thinking, and then we're dysfunctional. But I said something that's always been true. There's nothing harder than being broke.
Ooh, child.
So,
say that again.
If you have a choice to do something other than being broke that's going to advance you, you have to make the choice. But we get into cycles of dysfunction where we just get real comfortable in our negative situations, and really breaking out of that is difficult. That's why when you really want to advance, you have to find a tribe of people who are doing the same thing.
The Thrive Tribe is here, y'all. I got the shirt on. You can't see it, but the Thrive Tribe is here. But no, I do think that is it's important to find that tribe of people. But I want to go back real quick, because I'm still on this sacrifice and the struggle, because there's a lot of people out here on the struggle bus, especially when we're talking about failure to launch, failure to get to where we are, where we want to go. And I know that there are so many people who really, really want to be at a different place in their lives, but just can't seem to activate what they need to move beyond this.
All right.
So
So I'll swim in your lane for a little bit on this one. We have to start with our strengths.
yeah.
We have to figure out for ourselves where in our life have I been strong? Where have I been the person with the answers in specific areas? Have I been good with my hands? Have I been good with people? Where has my strength lied?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where we start. Because growth, success, launching, it's a compounding effect. We have to build our base. So we always start with our strengths. Where have I been good? Because if you start where you're already good, there's less of a learning curve. There's less struggle. You don't want to have to struggle with building your intrinsic self. You want to find that. That's why I always laugh when people find the latest and greatest business that they're going to start and be awesome in. But half of business is being competent in whatever your business sells, and the other half is being able to sell that competency. So if you got to try to do both things, that's going to be difficult. You're picking two areas to struggle in. If you're ever going to start a business, you want to start that business in something that you're absolutely great at, because then you don't have to worry about products. You just have to worry about how do I engage with people and show them the value of what I have to do. Yeah. So it's like you pick your struggles. You can't run around with 10 struggles. You got to try to reduce these struggles down as much as you can. Operate strength.
You can't be the driver of the whole struggle bus. I mean, you gotta have some strengths. No, so I think about like us, right? And the reason why like when I put this out here and said you've helped so many people, including me, is because it is the truth. Love, I promise you, and I know this for a fact, that God put us together because you were going to be my partner in all things, right? I can honestly say that I am where I am in my entire life because of you, right? Like I wouldn't been able to grow, through my challenges, through my struggles, if it were not for you. Number one, being strategic, because you're gonna always be that. But number two, supporting me in the way that I've had to learn and show up. And now I see myself, as the CEO of an amazing company, two companies, as a matter of fact. But I struggled a lot of the time to get here, right? So what do you say to people who are kind of like me and felt like they have been on the struggle bus or whatever, struggle they have been dealing with for a long time, and they know they have the ability to move forward, especially now that they don't listen to this episode of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. But what do you say to people who've been there for a long time, but still have the aspirations to move forward?
I got a couple of things. Number one, I have to tell them, just take an honest appraisal of yourself and just understand that you are comfortable in your struggle.
So what you're saying to tell people is to be chill in their struggle.
No, I didn't say that. The first thing I said, that you have to come to a self-awareness that you are comfortable in your struggle. So you have to know that problem about yourself. The second thing is, because you know that problem, you have to put yourself in an environment where people will challenge you. Because you are naturally comfortable in your struggle, you will run away from that. You'll reject that. You have to know that about yourself and put yourself in an environment that will push you, because you have to get comfortable out of your comfort zone in order to succeed.
Dang, okay. So I get what you're saying. Like, we need enough self-awareness to know that boo-boo, you too comfortable. So you're gonna stay in the struggle.
Yeah. You have a certain friend circle because you know what they're gonna bring to your life. They're not going to challenge you. They're going to accept you the way you are. As a matter of fact, if they see you growing, they may have some problems with that. You have to have enough self-awareness to separate yourself from environments that will keep you in a comfortable struggle.
Dang. Okay. But what if those environments are important relationships like marriage?
Yeah, that's difficult because I'm not going to be the person to tell anyone what they should do in their marriage, but you have to have additional support systems outside of the marriage. You know, I'm a Christian. I'm a big proponent in finding a church family that you can lean on. If you're in any kind of interest, find a professional group to lean on. But I will say in this situation, you definitely need to have a moral center, because people in this situation can find themselves off track very fast, and they get into a circle where they feel like they're being supported and then feel like they're not being supported at home. That's a slippery slope that married people really have to be aware of.
They do. Yeah, they do. And I mean, like I just even look at us, right? Like I said, you've been there to support me, but it ain't been easy for you. And I mean, I've been there to support you too. I mean, this, we've been in a marriage for 20 years, so it's not a one-way street with any of this stuff, right? But there have been times where I've made mistakes, and I know you done gave me the side eye, like, okay. Like, what we about to do? And I think being able to do that in a relationship is still also important.
Yeah, who you partner with is the most important decision you're going to make in your life.
Say that again.
So who you partner with is the most important decision you're going to make in your life. Because if I was anyone different, this could be a whole different situation.
I'll be divorced, y'all. I'll be divorced.
We've been through a lot, but one thing I know, I lean on my faith, and I made a covenant with God on this one. I told him I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna let her figure out her thing, and that's either gonna be the prosperity or ruin. But you put me here, so I figure out we got a plan. So
you was willing to go to the depth of us, babe, for me to succeed.
Hey, it felt like that sometimes.
Y'all, this the uncut version of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, Overcoming Failure to Launch. And I mean, I'm glad we being real about it, because it's the truth, right? Like, there is so many times where I know in our relationship, I even felt, difficult about, the business that I was running, because I knew it was putting a burden on our household. But you were still there, and I had to learn every last lesson that you just talked about on this show in order to become successful in the areas of business and even in our relationship as a whole. Like, this is, I mean, for real, this is real talk.
That's why what qualities and people you prioritize is important. What kind of character they have. Are they a person that you can be committed to in the long term? And I'm not even talking about marriage, but just any kind of relationship. Like, do you prioritize character over superficial things? Because when it gets hard, you need people who can really buckle down with you and say, we go ride this thing out together. And that's not everyone. So we have to be aware of the energy and attention we give to people in every arena, because everyone is not put in our life to be a part of our life. Some people are put in our life to be cautionary tales.
Woo, child.
Things that, I don't want that.
Some people put in your life to be like, no, that's not what we're doing. I love that. But I love that you also said that it's not just in a marriage relationship, right? I even see this with bosses, right? Like, I coach so many leaders and organizations, and it's difficult for some of the people who are coached because they don't have a partnership with their boss, right? And I think that if you're trying to show up and be in an organization, and you and your boss or your leader are not on the same page, that makes for a very hard work life.
Oh yeah, that's critical. I mean, we spend more than half of our lives at work. We're with our work family more than our real family if we don't work in a family business. And man, you know me, I'll leave a job in a minute if it's not the right fit.
Y'all, facts, okay? Facts. He's out if it ain't a good fit. And it's so
And it's
funny, like,
unapologetic. I mean, you have work, your career, it's a communal kind of experience. And if the community at your job don't work, you have to find one that does. And it's not always easy. I mean, I've gritted out some places where like I can't wait to go, but I'm gonna be going to a land and I'm not going and not having anything to fall on. And that's a part of growth and maturity.
yeah.
You use your environments to grow you in areas you need to grow in. Doesn't mean you have to be there permanently, but you have to figure out how can I make the next move and how can I survive here with these people who crazy. I can't do this.
Yeah, what I see a lot of though, which is so interesting, is people who stay in the environments, period, thinking that number one, they might get better, or thinking that they don't have what it takes to step out and do something different. So they stay, or they stay a lot of reasons because of money. And I'm like, that's a hard decision to be making.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been there. I've been in situations that where I was trapped in a corner. I have no option but to do the job. But no one said that you're stuck in a job for the rest of your life.
That part.
And considering that if you're not productive or if you don't fulfill a goal for the company, they're going to drop you. It's mutual. So with that truth, hey, this situation isn't working out for me, but no one else paying my bills, so I have to do it. So what are some small steps I can make to start improving my situation? Maybe not the job, but improving myself so I can get out of it. Maybe it's not the company. Maybe it's the department. What can I do to get a sidestep and move somewhere else in the company? Maybe it's another career. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, but we have to accept that this is my life. So it's not like I have to fix this today. I just have to create an opportunity for myself.
I love that, because that goes back into overcoming the failure to launch, is creating that opportunity, creating the change in you that is going to allow you to propel yourself forward. Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
mean, you remember I worked at this one place that I was happy to get the job, but it was a terrible job because I needed a job.
Yep.
And I worked it for a while. And then it occurred to me that, hey, I could probably try to transition to another segment of this industry. I found another job. I didn't make any extra money than I was making at the previous job, but it had additional perks that allowed me to get some professional development, some different work opportunities so that I can eventually move out of the industry completely. And it's like a lot of people are like, well, why are you going to go there? You ain't making any more money. It's not the money. This gives me an additional opportunity to I can actually build a better life. And we have to look for opportunities like that.
I love that. Oh my God. Okay. So we got to wrap the show up. So I want to know how one then becomes unstunted.
Becoming unstunted starts in your mind. And it's like, this situation is tough, this situation is bad, but this situation isn't unchangeable. And I just need to find one step to take to move in a positive direction.
Yeah.
Then I need to find a tribe of people who can really help me with that.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. I love it. It's one step. I always say, figure out the next best step, right? We ain't got to figure out the next, perfect step or right step. Just what's the next best step in your life? And I think that is.
Yeah. I mean, it's a truth that we always talked about as we've been on our journey. You took your whole life to get yourself into this mess, but you want to fix it in a day.
Facts.
It just don't work that way. We have a whole life of making not the correct choices, ingrained in bad habits, a whole host of things it's going to make it really difficult. So if it took your whole life to get you where you're at, give yourself 5 years at least.
You know us, we always have our 5-year plan. It's always a 5-year plan. We have a 1-year plan, we have a 5-year plan. Always, y'all. I am planning parties. I'm planning anniversary celebrations into 5 years because that's how we actually think. We really plan it out. And it's not from where we are. It's from like aspirational where we want to be, but we also know that we're going to have to take the steps to get there. So awesome. I love it. I love it. All right. So tell the people what you are up to these days and how they can find you for all these beautiful words of wisdom that you be giving out.
All right. So where I'm at, recently starting the Unstunted Growth movement. It is a ministry for me where I really want to pour into young men and help them figure out themselves and find a way to launch and be productive in this society. So you can get my information. You can reach me at blackguywhocodes.com, and you can get all my socials from there.
Awesome. Yeah. So y'all go to blackguywhocodes.com. You can hit him up on, he's on the socials, he's on LinkedIn, he's on all that. But if you know young men who need, direction and a mentor, I can't think of anybody better than you, babe. Like, honestly, because, and I mean, honestly, you don't even have to be young people but I know that's your ministry and I know that's the population that you love.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this is a universal message. It's really for the community, but the community is too big to try to put my whole arms around it. So I'm going to start where my strength is with the young men.
Yeah. So if y'all know young men who could use a mentor like Jamil, send them to his page because I tell you, their life will be forever changed. So thank you, love, so much for joining me on the show.
Yeah, this is fun. It's a lot better than having to run up and down the steps fixing internet issues.
Y'all know we're in the same house. He's in his office and I'm in mine. And you see the difference, right? He's got the dark and I got the light. I'm so glad you were here. We're gonna do it again. It's gonna happen again because we got so many things to talk about with the people, and I just want everybody to hear the good and beautiful and amazing wisdom that I get on a regular basis. And so thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you as always.
All right. I appreciate too. I love you, babe.
All right. So if you guys joined us live today, thank you so much. If you felt that this conversation was helpful, please click the share button on whatever social media platform you're on. And then if you're listening to this on the podcast, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and a like. And share it with somebody else as well. And if you are a woman who is ready to thrive, I'm excited to announce that Thrive, Transforming Your Life and Career is going to be launching very soon. This is my new 6-week course that's going to be coming out. And I'm going to be helping a set of amazing women really dig into their life and their career so that they can transform it and find the work-life harmony that you really, really, truly need. And so you can find all the information on my website at kikiramsey.com. And I invite you all to join me in the Happy Women Lead Academy. All right, y'all. I'm excited about this episode. Y'all know it. Now I'm going to go take my husband to lunch because it's so awesome. All right. See y'all later. Peace.